Take you live now to the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. This is Thursday lunchtime. 4 former senior government officials have been arrested in connection with tender fraud amounting to 1.2 million rand. All of this dates back about 3 years. The accused were employees in the Gauteng Health Department. They've been granted bail in the specialised commercial crimes court sitting in that magistrates court. The matter postponed until the 3rd of December, if I'm not mistaken. eNCA's Manqoba Mchunu is with us. Do we know who the officials are and what positions they held?
Well, certainly, Jeremy, as you've alluded to in that intro of yours, these were 4 former senior officials within the Gauteng Health Department that have been brought before the court regarding that 1.2 billion rand project. We do know that it also implicates the former health MEC at the time, Brian Hlongwa, in wrongdoing stemming, of course, from an investigation by the SIU which was carried out. It was released in 2017, and also pointing to the fact that the former MEC was included in some of the dodgy deals and also received some kickbacks from that project, which included a 7 million rand house that was bought for him, and also luxury trips as well as spas, trips to spas being chauffeured by limousines. Those are some of the accusations that have come up. But in terms of these officials that were here in court today, we do understand that they include the former head of the department, Sipho Ngwema, as well as the Chief Director of Information and Communication Technology, Manqoba Mchunu, Ramano, who is the former Deputy or Director of Supply Chain Management, and Gauteng Health, the Deputy Director General in Executive Support Program in that department. So they face serious charges, Jeremy, of corruption, as well as breaching the PMFA, or the Public Finance Management Act, amongst others. But to talk more about this, I'm now joined by the spokesperson of the NPA, Sipho Ngwema, just to give us a sense of these arrests today and what they're all about. Let's start here, Babu Ngwema, about the allegations, some of the allegations. What exactly did these officials do?
Thank you, Manqoba. You know that in 2007, the Gauteng Health Department issued a tender for its IT services, and subsequently there was they appointed a company for 1.2 billion rands, and however there was a condition. The condition was that they could only officially appoint that company if there were funds, if there was a go-ahead from the Treasury. Treasury issued an instruction that they should not go ahead because there was no funding. However, a few days later, about 6 days later, the officials went on to engage the company. They issued the tender, a contract to that company, and the service signed the service level agreement. Subsequently, they then amended that tender and added more, about 240 odd million rands, which they did not go to open tender. It was about 500,000 rands in terms of PFMA rules. They were supposed to go on an open tender. They didn't. So what then happened is that with our investigation, they appointed a company which was then managing these projects for them. Subsequently, the subcontractors were linked to some of the directors of these companies, but also the officials in the department, they allegedly received kickbacks. You can see money flowing from those companies into those officials, whether they were buying them furniture or it was towards their housing. So those are some of the issues that are going to be raised, that are raised in the indictment. And of course, I must stress the fact that this is but one part of a bigger investigation. So this is one leg, and more is yet to come with regards to the bigger investigation about what happened at the time.
Okay, but the bigger question, of course, will be why then do we not have the former MEC? Is he a suspect? In fact, in this case, given the fact that there was that damning SIU report that fingered him in wrongdoing?
As I said to you, there's a strategy followed by the investigators in terms of how do they deal with this case, and in consultation, of course, with the prosecution service. And with regards to this leg, it is proceeding. We have 2 outstanding suspects. Their warrants were issued. They are out of the country. Of course, we hope that when they appear again in December, those suspects will have been processed as well. But I must add, even in as much as I'm not going to tell you who are the suspects in terms of the bigger investigations, who are we again, or are we after? But there's no doubt that there are going to be more developments in this regard, and given the fact that it's a much bigger and complex investigation.
Okay. Let's also talk about the arrest that happened in the Eastern Cape today. We do understand that a 48-year-old suspect has appeared in court regarding COVID-19 irregularities.
Yes, indeed. A 48-year-old lady in the Eastern Cape appeared at the Mthatha Regional Court. This is in connection with fraud. You remember in the social networks there were a number of documents emanating from OR Tambo municipality where someone purported to have gone into people's homes, teaching them about, educating them about COVID-19 at the height of the lockdown, where people were not even supposed to go into other people's households. And these people were asked to write their names because they were going to be promised SASSA. However, then that company went on back to OR and demanded or invoiced them for about 4.8 million for those activities. And all that was fraudulent because we know there was no such. And two, those papers that were submitted did not bear the names of those people. They were manufactured, they were cooks, they were cooked, and this is why the lady appeared. And even that investigation, which is a product of a fusion center of all law enforcement agencies working together, is continuing.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. That was Sipho Ngwema from the NPA speaking to us there about the court case that we saw here in court, as well as the one in the Eastern Cape. But the NPA not ruling out, Jeremy, more arrests in this matter. We do know that the name of the former MEC has come up, but he was not here in court, as well as some of those directors of the two companies that have been linked to this whopping 1.2 billion rand tender corruption. So the Hawk saying also we should expect more arrests in coming weeks.
What's most worrying, I guess, is really senior officials involved in that. Live at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. Manqoba Mchunu, thank you very much indeed.